I'm going to start my healthy pumpkin bread by mixing flour swap, granular sugar swap, salt, baking soda, cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves in a mixing bowl. Make sure all your dry ingredients are well incorporated and no lumps remain. Next, we'll add 2 egg swaps. Remember to reconstitute your egg swap with very hot water. Here's 1 big cup of pumpkin puree. Now we've got 1/3 cup of well-stirred creamy butter swap. Room temperature. Never need to store your butter swap in the refrigerator. And finally, 1 tablespoon of pure vanilla extract. Now we'll just mix our wet and dry ingredients together so everything is smooth, well incorporated. We have a nice pumpkin bread batter ready. I've got my oven heated up to 350 degrees. And this batter right here is the 100% grain-free batter. So I'll show you in just a moment what the 100% whole grain batter looks like. And as always with detox desserts, my preference is typically using equal parts of whole grain and grain-free flour swap in most desserts. I've got my grain-free batter here. I'm going to go ahead and let this rest for about 5 minutes. That's going to allow the fiber within the flour swap to absorb all the remaining moisture. That dough will noticeably thicken after the 5-minute resting period. So after it rests, we'll stir it for another minute or so and then load our pan. Here we have our mixed up whole grain flour swap pumpkin bread batter. You can see it's a lot thinner, handles more like a regular sweet bread batter. Now just to change up the variation on this bread, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of sugar-free chocolate chips and 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. And I'm just going to put this in my grain-free bread, fold it in, and then I'm going to put both loaves in the oven to bake. I've got a 9x9 baking tray. This is for my grain-free. I'll line it with parchment paper and just scoop my grain-free batter in. Now we'll need to press it flat with our hands. So when you're doing grain-free breads, you definitely want to bake it in a larger, flatter pan for more even baking. You're going to get a nice amount of lift, get a nice, moist, airy crumb, but grain-free does not bake very well in a traditional loaf-style pan. My oven's heated up to 350 degrees. I'm going to pop this grain-free pumpkin bread in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. For my whole grain pumpkin bread variation, I have a 9x5 pan, and I'll line this with parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, just grease it well. And we'll go ahead and load in our batter. I'll go ahead and just smooth the top of your bread. And I've got my oven heated to 350 degrees. Now, my whole grain in my loaf pan is going to bake for about 40 to 45 minutes.